It's alive! Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
So, welcome to the first show. We haven't got a fucking name yet. But basically what it's all going to be about is about cool kind of cult type things. And by cult I don't mean we're going to go around some woman's house and cut her up. Unless you want to.
Is this recording now?
Yes, it's recording now. If it wasn't recording, you'd be like, yeah, I'm down with slicing some woman up. You lunatic. It's going to be for stuff like comics, films, and anything that just catches your imagination and your eye. Because there used to be a few podcasts I used to listen to. One of them was called The Geek and the Greek. Another one called Small Press, Big Mouth, which was all about small pressed British kind of comic books. And I just wanted to do something which had a kind of British feel to it. One of us doesn't want people to know his real name, so I won't say who, but one of the people I'm about to introduce to you doesn't want his name known. So I'll leave it to you, the listener, to work out which of us is using a code name. So let me introduce you to everyone. First of all, I'm Steve. We're recording this at my house. There's Andy. Say hello, Andy.
Hello.
And then we've got Raoul.
From Wales.
From Wales, yes. Hello, Raoul.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
So I get named, but Rob doesn't.
You're not doing anything wrong.
My name's not Rob, it's Raoul.
Yeah, Raoul Rob. Anyway, so what I thought we'd start off with is we'd as this is our first show, we'd do some kind of film info first of all. The first thing is that I just noticed this morning. A script has just been released for a new He-Man film. I don't know if we all remember the original live action He-Man film with Dolph Lundgren in. Do you remember the original He-Man film?
Slightly homoerotic.
I never got that from it, but but then again, Raoul, you know.
That's how you interpret things,
Yeah.
isn't it?
What did you find homoerotic?
Well, I didn't. I was about 9 or 10 at the time, but, you know, it was just...
Just stop finding yourself.
But it's a time, isn't it, of trying new things. So,
Hormones and stuff. No, it's just Dolph Lundgren doing what he does, which is...
and you like that?
No, it's just funny.
I bet you, Rocky 4, you absolutely loved that. If he dies, he dies.
He just does the same thing in everything, and he was kind of like in He-Man. He was basically the same character as in Rocky 4.
Are you saying that you weren't happy with Dolph Lundgren's the way he acted as a muscle-bound warrior? Is that what you're saying? Because I think he did an okay job.
Well, there wasn't much pathos there, was there?
No, he didn't visit any of the Greek Isles. No. Anyway, my problem with we're not actually talking about the old film, although we are now. Is my problem with that film was they came to Earth. I friggin' hate TV shows or anything with a fantasy setting where they do an episode where it comes to Earth. Did you ever used to watch Farscape?
I briefly watched it, but again,
I used to flipping love Farscape.
I just got a bit fed up with it.
They came to Earth, and I always think that ruins it when they have that. You know when they did a Red Dwarf episode where they came and they met the actors who played it? Do you see that one? It was quite recently as well. Again, I don't like it. I want my fantasy world to stay fantasy. Andy, your thoughts?
Well,
Initial D.
I'm in agreement with you on that one, Steve.
I thought so. Good point.
in Doctor Who, they often come to Earth.
Yes, it's different though. What I'm talking about is not so much going to Earth. It's more of the coming to the real world. They put it across as if they did an episode of Doctor Who where Doctor Who came to Earth and he actually met the actor Peter Capaldi. That I wouldn't probably like that. That would be shit. Do you not think?
Well, that would be shit, but that ain't going to happen because Peter Capaldi is playing the Doctor.
I know, Rob. But I mean, if they did, although they have actually met Peter Capaldi in an episode. He's in the Fires of Pompeii. But what I'm talking about is I don't like sci-fi when there's no need. If it's set in a world where you're near Earth, I don't mind that. But imagine if Star Wars did an episode on the Earth. Oh, we found planet Earth. Let's go and fly some X-Wings over it. That would be shite, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that, and I didn't like in He-Man how they travelled to Earth because there's no reason to be on Earth. They're on Eternia, aren't they, Andy?
Yeah.
Now, you go to the gym. Not going to give away who you are. Not that anyone would flipping know, but what's your opinion on He-Man? Would you wear little kind of furry trunks?
Me personally, no. Maybe Rob's got a point about the homoeroticism.
What? Rob's got a point. I can't see his
Raoul,
trousers hide it.
Raoul,
Raoul. Oh, it lasted so well, didn't it? Of course,
Well,
Raoul is just
short for Rob, short for Raoul. So,
yeah, that's how the Spanish say it.
and the Greeks.
Yes. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to talk about The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, the last of the 3 Hobbit films. Just out of interest, Raoul. Raoul at the moment is rocking Andy on this. Andy's sitting on the rocking chair that we've got, and Raoul, for some unknown reason, is rocking him. Why is this?
Well, I wasn't actually rocking him. I was just sharing the footstool. Actually, this sounds a bit gay, doesn't it?
So far, you've done a flaming good
Okay,
job.
let's start again.
No, I think version 3 is where it's at. Don't you agree?
so start again.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
start
saying
again.
that. Don't worry, we can always edit out you
Version
saying
3.
that you got a boner looking at Dolph Lundgren,
What?
which is what you essentially said. No, we can. I can edit all this out. None of this now will appear in the actual podcast.
Isn't this version 2 then?
This is version 3. Version 2 ended when the dog tried to get out,
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
which is our geek hound. Anyway, continuing back on point. I wanted to talk a bit about The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, the last in Peter Jackson's 3 Hobbit films. I went to see it. No one else has seen it in the room. Because Raoul, you hate the whole idea, don't you?
Well, it's just the fact that the book is no thicker than a pound coin, and yet he's managed to stretch it into 3 films. And I gather at the end of every single bloody book or film or whatever you want to call it, eagles come along. So what's the point?
Thank you for ruining the thing I was going to say as well. This is the only problem with doing 3 frigging takes.
Oh, let's start again then. You can. I'll leave that one to you.
No, you've ruined my Eagles story, but I'll tell it anyway. This is a problem I have. I've seen this. I've seen Lord of the Rings, and it is to do with the Eagles. In that I feel that every single film, all the problems could have been solved by just calling for the Eagles. At the end of most of the films, well, all of the films, at the end of the final Lord of the Rings, they drop the ring into Mount Doom. It starts blowing up, and then you think they're going to die. Eagles turn up, carry Sam and Frodo off. In this film, at the end of it, without giving much away, spoilers, their army's about to attack them, and then the flipping Eagles turn up and trash it. And about 5 or 6 Eagles hammer a whole entire army. Why not save yourself the bother, save yourself the 3 films worth of walking across New Zealand hill landscapes, call the flipping Eagles in straight there and let them sort the biz out.
International policemen.
They are really. They're like the America.
United States of today.
Yeah.
Or the UN.
The
Well,
US,
you haven't
yeah.
got any teeth.
They're shit,
Yeah.
aren't they?
They'd be like Eagles with no talons.
They just watch people massacre each other and
Yeah.
then probably write a strongly worded letter.
The next one we speak about was we watched earlier on Thunderbirds Are Go. This is ITV's reboot for coming out in spring 2015.
The CGI one.
This is CGI. There's going to be no puppets in it. It's going to be CGI, and apparently they're going to be live sets. And I think about it, they're going to build the sets, so it will be 3D constructed sets with CGI characters acting in them. What do you reckon?
It's going to be rubbish, and the reason why I say this is because what was the technique that Gerry Anderson came up with?
Super marination.
Yeah, that gave it a certain charm. That gave it its.
Je ne sais quoi.
I don't know what that means.
Well, as the French say, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, it gave it that. Yeah, whatever that was. I just think you make it CGI, you've just lost all that. You've just lost the charm. You've made it a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
The mystique's gone.
Yeah. The I don't know what. Yeah, you're right. As you said, I also, you know what, they did a Captain Scarlet remake recently. I thought it was pretty cool. I liked some of that. However, I think it does lose an awful lot of the charm. One of the things we're going to talk about later on, I'm going to talk about conventions that are coming up. One of Gerry Anderson, in my opinion's best shows, was a show called Space Precinct. And one of the actors...
Was that one that was made not that long ago? I mean,
not that long ago.
Yeah.
It probably was quite a long time ago now.
But it was like in the 90s or something. It wasn't one of his old...
Yeah. Yeah, it was reasonably recent, and it was all live action with the puppets and people wearing masks and all that. But one of the main dudes from that is going to be at one of these conventions I'm going to talk about later. But I don't want to spoil the rest of the show. There's a little sneak peek teaser for you.
That's it.
My thoughts on Thunderbirds are, I was never a massive fan of Thunderbirds. The whole making of Tracy Island with Anthea Turner, what a load of rubbish. I was more of a Captain Scarlet and a Terrorhawks man, which makes me think that, Rob, do you have a witty story about kicking one of the Terrorhawks characters into a graveyard?
Well, you just kind of prompted me now. It's like in the original take, the other take we did, it was relatively spontaneous, just kind of... But now I feel like I'm on spot. Basically...
Yeah, it's not nice, is it, when someone does that, you shit? Continue.
Well, yeah... I kicked a Terrorhawks football into a grave in the graveyard.
Into a grave?
In the graveyard. I kicked it into the graveyard and ended up in the grave, and the gravedigger was a bit pissed off with me, so he popped it.
He died?
No, he lived. He popped my ball.
He never popped your ball in the original version, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Do you remember Rob getting his ball popped by a gravedigger?
No. You didn't say anything about your balls popping.
Well,
Yeah,
until you saw
He-Man.
him. And they popped everywhere.
Oh, my name's not Rob, it's Raoul.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Raoul. Can I just make something clear as well? As I said, this is the third take, so there may be some jokes you've already done, which...
You might not be able to keep up with the highly cerebral plotline, you know.
Yeah, particularly since people are commenting on stuff which happened in a take which no one's going to ever hear. Or when I've given an interesting fact and Raoul nicks it and says it before I've had a chance to chuff and say it. Anyway, moving away from that, I was never much a fan of Thunderbirds. Captain Scarlet is where it's at. Had a better theme tune for my money.
Captain Scarlet was the one that went underwater, wasn't it?
No, Captain Scarlet was fighting the
Mermaid
restaurants. That was... Marina wasn't in Captain Scarlet.
What was she in then?
Stingray.
That's right, Stingray. Yeah.
Troy Tempest. I liked that. That was good as well. There's a woman I work with that actually looks like one of the bad guys from Stingray. She's got a very thick bottom lip.
I hope she doesn't listen to this.
I don't know if anyone's gonna... I've got a feeling she isn't going to listen to this.
Yeah.
But if she does... Well, how's she going to know anyway?
Shout out.
Yeah.
True.
Shout out to you, fishlet bitch. Holler. She won't listen to it. It's not her thing, really. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Thunderbirds, to be honest. I think it was a bit later. I mean, I was born a bit too late for it. And then when it came out again and got popular again, I was probably a little bit too old.
Why did it become popular the second time around?
You know what? I have no idea. Although you did say earlier that it might be to do with they started re-showing some of them, which could be it. But I still don't get why a repeat of something would make it really popular again.
Unless you've got all the parents who are really into it and then making their kids watch it and getting into it. Because it was a massive explosion with all the merchandise, which is why that Tracy Island thing came about, because Anthea Turner managed to make one for 2p in a toilet roll.
Just to make it clear, this was Thunderbirds, for those of you... Because you never know, someone from abroad might listen to this.
True.
Yeah, they might do. Thunderbirds, a very famous kids' TV show from the 1960s about these... Well, I'm sure most people know what Thunderbirds is, don't they? Yeah.
Well, they should do.
Yeah, they should do. If you don't know, Google Thunderbirds now. But anyway, it became very popular in the 90s, and loads of toys started coming out, and one of the most popular was Tracy Island, which is their home base. But it costs... Not home base, you wouldn't go there for reasonable price kind of furniture and stuff.
You might go on a home base to buy the stuff to make your own Tracy Island, though.
You could, but you could actually buy one, but it was very expensive, and you couldn't get one for love nor flipping money. It was one of the most popular presents.
It was one of those kind of Christmas presents that all the kids wanted, and parents were fighting over it, and they
like Turbo Man in Jingle All the Way.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, Tracy Island was like that, and so Anthea Turner on a program called Blue Peter, which was a children's program.
Is it still going?
I think it is, isn't it? I don't know, I don't watch it.
Because I know, like, with digital, they messed up all the telly. You haven't got an hour of children's programme anymore. You've got, like, a whole channel dedicated to them.
Yeah, it is still going, because you've got Helen Skelton on it. She might have just left it, but she's a woman who kayaked up the Amazon, wasn't it?
Yeah, she does all kinds of, like, action-adventure stuff. Like, she dived out of a plane and climbed up Everest.
And now Raoul has done some kayaking in a former life.
Yeah, don't tell them that. They'll know who I am.
How are they going to know?
You're not a
who
famous
you are?
kayaker.
Well, I used to canoe for Wales.
Well, obviously, you know, all those Welsh canoers, they just trip off your tongue, don't they? Did you really canoe for Wales?
Yeah.
Well, what age?
Yeah.
When I was about 16, 17.
There we go. Start Googling. Raoul looks a little bit like a young Harold Bishop. Anyway, no one's going to know.
Good.
I doubt Harold Bishop. I'll put Christopher Biggins in.
I look nothing like Christopher Biggins.
No, you don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm throwing them off.
Oh, right, okay, cool.
He does. Anyway, right, next thing I want to talk about was what I think is going to be the 2016. Forget about 2015. We're just moving straight past that son of a bitch. I'm going straight to 2016. The movie of the year 2016. I've just showed these guys the trailer for it. It's called Iron Sky, The Coming Race. It's not a porn film. I got a bigger laugh than the original take. That doesn't make a big fake forced laugh doesn't make it any better. It's a sequel to 2012's Iron Sky, which was about Nazis having lost the Second World War, as they actually did, and moving to the moon and then launching an invasion of Earth. The new film, The Coming Race, that's coming out, is going to star Udo Kier, Lloyd Kaufman and Tom Green. They're three names that I know really well. Udo Kier, he's German. He's always playing either a Nazi or a vampire or a Nazi
He looks
vampire.
like one, doesn't he?
He does. I first came across, quite literally, Udo Kier in a film called The Story of O.
Well, quite literally.
Again, unless you're under the age of 18 or whatever, what the laws are, Google the history of O. Udo Kier's in that one. Are you Googling it now, Raoul?
That's the door.
Yeah.
Rob.
Okay, Google.
Raoul,
The door.
pizza.
Right.
Raoul is going to go and get his pizza.
I'm going to move the dog.
That isn't Raoul barking, by the way, either.
How do I stop Dash?
He doesn't have an off switch. He's a Labrador.
Dashy.
Dash.
I don't know. Anyway, while he's out the room, we can slag him off a bit, can't we?
This is still running, yeah.
Of course, it's still running.
Good, because I really wanted to say that he's.
Does he look a little bit like Harold Bishop? A young Harold Bishop.
That's a lot.
Back in the day when Harold Bishop used to kayak for Australia.
Yeah, it's sort of the Harold Bishop. You know when the glasses were found on the beach.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Harold, Harold.
And then the kind of time when if you went into a charity shop and you found a man with amnesia.
That's how we met Raoul.
What was this? So I missed all this.
Nothing. You have to listen to the.
That was quite
the
good.
show.
I felt really bad. I think he wanted a tip.
We'll get a better job than a pizza man.
He could be a brain surgeon in the making. He might just be doing this to fund his way through college. You never know.
Well, yeah. So we'll
yeah.
get a better job. Become a brain surgeon and get paid loads.
If you meet him in later life and he's a brain surgeon.
Dash, get lost. Go away. I'm eating pizza.
Anyway, so what kind of pizza for the listeners? Possibly your girlfriend as well. What kind of pizza with? Is that cookies you've got with it, Rob?
No.
After
It's Raoul.
Oh, sorry, shit, Raoul.
You've had an appetizer with a gâteau before.
Which you didn't throw away as well, Raoul's girlfriend, if she's listening.
I did. I threw it away.
So you've got chips, pizza, and what's in the other box? Chicken.
Oh.
Chicken, chips, and pizza. Oh. Anyway, let's crack on with the show.
Anyone like some chicken?
Oh, I'll have a piece of chicken, Raoul.
We'll wait till Raoul has given away some of his chicken.
Merci.
Have a look.
Merci beaucoup. It makes great podcasting, the sound of, no thanks, I'm fine. Anyway, back to the point. I think it's going to be this new film, this Iron Sky, The Coming Race, going to be the 2016 film of the year, and the reason being, it's set 20 years after World War III. where the survivors of World War III have to face off against Hitler and dinosaurs. In the trailer for this, if you watch it, you can see Hitler riding a T-Rex called Blondie, which, as if we'd have actually kept the original version of the podcast, Rob questioned, is that because it looks like Debbie Harry? And then Andy pointed out, Raoul, sorry. Can we just use your real name? Which is obviously Raoul, yes.
Oh, Rob. No.
Right, Rob. And then Andy pointed out that Blondie was Hitler's dog's name, which is why the T-Rex. But the trailer's cracking because you actually see the T-Rex throws a little kind of Nazi salute up, doesn't it? Which is something I've always wanted to see. Goose-stepping dinosaurs. Nazi dinosaurs, it makes perfect sense.
Could a T-Rex actually goose-step, or would it just fall over?
I don't know, Rob.
Because I don't think there's enough...
I think the real question is, could Hitler survive the Second World War, hollow out the Earth, and then live underneath Antarctica with dinosaurs?
Yeah, you might want to consider those points.
Well, the Nazis did do some weird stuff, so it is plausible.
Perfectly, yes. So this is potentially a true film, Iron Sky 2.
Historically accurate.
Yeah. Tom Green's in it as well. I think I mentioned that already. Not seen Tom Green for ages. I used to watch the Tom Green show, did you?
Yeah,
the thing is, I just found him a little bit too gross, Tom Green.
I loved it. The bit where he built those... He did. Was it the bonnet of their car?
Oh yeah, the Slugmobile.
Yeah. Again, if you're not aware, Tom Green he's a Canadian comedian who had a show, which was Tom Green show. Oddly enough, he married Drew Barrymore for a bit, didn't he?
For about a month.
Lost and only got one testicle.
Yeah.
Something in common with you, Rob.
Raoul.
I thought we were going with your real name.
Okay, we'll go with the real name. Yeah.
Does Raoul have a full set?
Raoul does, yes.
Raoul, he has massive, big, hairy balls. If you go onto YouTube and look up this film, you can also see there's some little mini teaser trailers, and one has got Vladimir Putin dancing, and then he has like lizard eyes in the trailer, and another one with Hitler, who's played by Jukka Hilden, who's part of the Dudesons, who are a bit like Jackass, but from Finland.
Is he actually Hitler in the film then?
No. Jukka Hilden is playing Jesus. He's the blonde Jesus that you were kind of kicking off a bit about, saying that Jesus isn't blonde, despite the fact that Jesus is a man supposedly born in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, Jesus wouldn't be blonde, would he?
He wouldn't be white either.
Well, exactly. But
he'd have black kind of curly hair and look like he's from the Middle East.
Like a Taliban.
Oh my word! They're not from the Middle East,
aren't they?
It's Asia, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's Asia.
Afghanistan.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so on that slightly racist note,
Yeah, we really can't put that in, can we?
I'm going to keep it in to teach you a lesson. The interesting thing about this film is it's being crowdfunded partly by Indiegogo, and also they've got some money as well from some kind of arts groups. I think some German one and possibly a Finnish one.
What do you get on Indiegogo?
What, sorry?
What do you get for crowdfunding on Indiegogo?
What do you mean? What do you get? Oh, you mean what are the perks? Do not know. You'd have to look. You have to look it up. Now, when we did the original takes of this, every time we said something, Rob Raoul was checking it on his mobile phone. He's not doing that now because he's stuffing his face with what kind of pizza
What
is
is
that?
it?
It's a vegetarian supreme.
Oh, why do you always
Why
get
have you got
vegetarian?
Because meat on pizza is wrong.
What? What are you on about?
Meat on pizzas is so right.
Vegetarian pizzas is the best.
They are not. They are shit.
There's you just know something, fundamental is missing when you eat it.
When we used to have parties and stuff, because I had this thing about I don't like sharing food with people. And I remember you would say, let's someone go get some pizza, and Rob would go, okay, then we'll get one kind of meat feast one, and we'll get one vegetarian, so equal sizes of vegetarian and meat.
Yeah, where does everyone go?
Everyone eats all the meat one first, and then they leave the vegetarian one. I don't like the vegetarian one. I want pepperoni if I'm going to have it. It pisses
I was
me
thinking,
off.
that looks alright, and then when you said it's vegetarian, I'm like, I'm not interested at all.
Yeah. Yeah, how can you not like a pepperoni pizza? It just beats everything. And why have you gone for thin? Not that this podcast is us dissing your pizza choices, but still,
So I like thin vegetarian pizzas.
I don't think you do really. Are you just doing this because you know that your girlfriend will be listening to it and you can argue, well, it's vegetarian?
She knows I like vegetarian pizzas.
Oh, you're weird. Anyway, back on the point. This film is going to come out in 2016. It looks like it's going to be a bit laughed, doesn't it? And as you were saying, Rob was saying when he wants stuff in his fizzog with pizza, do you reckon that the production standards look loads better than the previous film?
Yeah, good pizza. The production value was a lot better.
And the pizza, its production values, are they good?
I've had better.
Can we just be clear on this for anyone listening, your girlfriend? So you've eaten a gatto today? You've just had chips, pizza. I'm not dobbing him in. That voice in the corner is my girlfriend, Lisa. She said she didn't want any of us to mention her on the show, but if she's going to stick a beak in, expect to be called out. Do you want to say hello to the listeners, Lisa? She said that well-known... Was that number 1 or number 2 you were giving me? There we go. She's waving at me with her 2 middle fingers.
She's got that warlike spirit, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Wrong way round. Next thing I want to talk about is the film Antman. It's coming out on July the 17th of 2015. I'll give my personal opinion about it and then I'll open it up for everyone else. I think there's a high chance that this is going to be the first Marvel film that could suck major balls. And the reason why I say that is that...
Hulk sucked major balls.
The recent ones. I know the Hulk film, the last Hulk film they produced, was part of the... It was it and Iron Man and all that. It kind of gets forgotten about when you talk about, you know, the Marvel films. You know, in some of these phases, phase 1, that last Hulk film was with Edward Norton in it. That was part of phase 1, but it kind of gets overlooked because it's better than some of the other ones. It's better than the Eric Bana ones. The
Eric Bana ones were atrocious.
Yeah, the Ang Lee one looked really good, but the story just sucked. Was it Jeff Bridges, the bad guy in that one?
Yes.
And he was literally, I know he bit through an electric cable, but he was chewing the scenery so bad in that film, I didn't like it. So that's a terrible pun, but no, was not a fan of that. So I don't really regard that Hulk one. I think of everything from Iron Man onward is what I'm really talking about. Although you are right, the Hulk was in that phase 1. And it could suck balls, the reason being that originally Edgar Wright for ages was attached to it and the film kept getting put back. He's having Joe Cornish writing it, who Rob has already...
I just don't like him.
Yeah, Rob doesn't like him. He thinks he's rubbish. He thinks all he can do is chabby things. That's what you said, didn't you, before? Yes, you did. I like to Attack the Block. I think he's quite a good writer. I was gutted when I heard that they weren't doing the film anymore. And when Edgar Wright left the film, where it was reported was they said that there's differences in the vision of the film, which I thought was worrying. So I think Edgar Wright, from the little I've seen, kind of probably was going to do what I wanted to see in it. They got took on by a guy called Peyton Reed, who you might know from has been the director of Yes Man, The Breakup, and Bring It On. And then Adam McKay, who worked on Antman and the films like the other guys, came on to help write some of it. And as soon as I heard that, I thought this film's going to end up as being some kind of, Apatow, the company that makes a lot of, Seth Rogen type films. I thought it's going to end up being a bit like that.
All Seth Rogen's films are shit as well.
I've liked some of them, but...
What's that, Seth Rogen's? He always plays the same character.
Well, with the exception of perhaps The Interview. I saw that the other day.
Oh, did you?
And that was pure genius.
Well, that's North Korea taking down our podcast then. Thanks, Rob.
I think it was was it a Korean guy delivered that pizza?
Yeah, it was. Rob's dying.
He had ginger beard. Like you.
Have a beard? You are ginger though. Put his head on upside
Bit
down.
of a personal insult, but I can take it well.
So what you're saying is that being ginger is insulting?
No, because I'm not.
Oh, you sons of a bitches. I've got to say about that film, The Interview, I had no inclination to see it before, or it got all controversial. But I've got even less now because I got Assassin's Creed Unity for Christmas, and then they took down the whole PlayStation Network thing, so I couldn't play it for about 3 or 4 days.
Did that?
Well, is it Lizard Lounge, the hacking group? who supposedly they said it was Korea, but actually some research recently that's come out has said that it's actually an American group. Someone inside doing it as a way to show up, kind of Sony and companies like that.
Well, Sony are notoriously poor with their security anyway.
Well, they've been all those leaks, haven't they?
They
Yeah.
that now, don't they?
Yeah.
What? You give me an empty box?
No, we need some chip.
Oh, cheers, Rob.
But basically, as far as I'm concerned, Seth Rogen stopped me playing my game online.
It was Seth Rogen.
Well, yeah, he made this new film. Was it good, the interview?
It was good. It was good. I thought it was a brilliant piece of satire.
Okay, give him a
All these people going about free speech and liberty and all that kind of stuff. That's a little bit far fetched because if they made a film which they blew up a barber or the Queen, there might be comments made about that as well. But as a piece of satire, I thought it was spot on.
Good point. Andy,
Oh gosh, I haven't got you.
yeah, it doesn't work all that well on a podcast if you're having a chat with someone else in the background while forcing more food than...
I was asking if I could feed your starving dog.
Do not give him anything because he will stink the house out.
But he looks so hungry.
He always looks hungry. He isn't actually... He's been fed.
He's hungry, but he's got a bit, he's got a bit of meat on him, hasn't he?
You saying I've got a fat dog?
Well, he's not fat, but he's not ill. He's not anemic. He's not like.
Just say he looks fine. You always
He looks
dig
fine.
yourself a
Yeah.
frigging hole. Yeah. I don't food like that. The rubbish food that Rob's at the moment kind of forcing into his massive cake hole is not the kind of thing that I would let a dog eat. But Rob, you continue with it. I don't know about you. And again, this has nothing to do with kind of geeky stuff, but I think that Ethiopia has got a lot to answer for. In as much as that as I was growing
Careful where
up,
you go.
Where are you going with this?
as I was growing up as a kid, I remember that if I didn't eat my dinner, my mum and dad would always say, "Oh, well, think about all those Ethiopians. They'd love to have had that meal." And as I got older, and I got told that a lot,
Big version of
I
the
cannot leave I can't leave food on a plate now.
Sorry.
I
because
can't
I
either.
start thinking about Ethiopians.
It's not because Ethiopians, because if I left food on my plate, I get beaten.
You get beaten.
I get the that's my hand.
The
Yeah.
Andy,
Sorry.
stop having other conversations because I'm recording it and people will hear you chatting away about... Are you trying to give lemonade to that dog?
No, I was just talking about these.
Because let it be said for the benefit of the listeners and the RSPCA that I will not be allowing you to feed carbonated drinks
No,
to my
I
pets.
can categorically deny that rumour. I was not trying to give them.
Rob's just told me, and you probably missed it, and I'm sure the people at home didn't, but just told me that as a child, if he didn't eat his dinner, I always had the spectre of Ethiopia of used to make me finish and clean the plate. Rob would be beaten with a... Is that
Really?
true, Rob? That's child abuse.
No, it's not. Look at me, I'm fine.
Yeah, quite flat, aren't they? That explains it. They hit you with a back of...
No, I'm Thing is,
Break your
well, no, it didn't break my. It was like a light kind of tap.
With a...
With a.
But surely that wouldn't even hurt.
Well, it did.
I don't think I could swing a without either doing no damage or doing lots of damage.
Actually, I probably shouldn't record this and getting a lot of shit.
Well, no one knew that until you just told everyone it.
You always
Yeah.
associate pain with love, then.
I can just imagine that. Rob's getting a bit frisky with the lady and he pulls out. Yeah, anyway, should we move on from that? Right, the next thing I wanted to talk about was... that
You
was...
can edit that out, right?
I could do, yeah. Yeah.
You will, yeah?
I will. That will not appear in the podcast.
Seriously, thank you.
Yeah. I know that
You're a good friend.
the recorder can't see me winking at it. The other thing is Paul Rudd's going to be in this film playing Scott Lang, who's going to be Antman, and Michael Douglas is going to be in it.
I can't see Paul Rudd as an action hero. I mean, Ant-Man was never really an action hero anyway. He was just some dude that shrunk himself down to the size of an ant. But
He did have the strength of, as he scaled up, his strength has got however many times the strength of something its size. Ant-Man is fantastic strong and can grow bigger as well.
When he scales back up, is he still a human? Yeah.
What else would he be?
An ant.
He doesn't turn into an ant.
Right,
He can control ants though.
yeah, you can control them.
Yeah, which is the shittest
Yeah,
power
like,
ever.
what the fuck are you gonna do with
No, a lot of his adventures he had to ruin like picnics and stuff for people. This is going to be like a heist movie apparently. So
Is he vulnerable to rape then? And
to what? To rape?
No, rape. You know that
Oh, yeah,
book
sorry.
control.
I was going to say, isn't everyone vulnerable to rape?
You know that technically,
That'd be a dark film.
under UK law, a woman cannot rape a man.
Well, that was the next thing on my list of geeky things to talk about.
I didn't know that was the case. I just think, you know, in all the, you know, issues of equality and all that, that's you know, that's
I've actually heard that. Yeah, they can sexually assault a man. But
that's
yeah,
right. They cannot rape.
They cannot rape a man. Well, should we do a special on that next time?
But a man can rape another man.
Well, yeah.
Don't fucking look at us like that when you say that. With your filthy pizza boxes and your massive flattened. The next thing I was going to talk about was, going off the point here, was a film called Chappie, which I actually think genuinely is going to be a really good film. It's coming out this year, March 2015. It's by Neil Blomkamp.
Did you do District 9?
You did, Rob. Well remembered. You did. This film is going to have Hugh Jackman in it. It's going to feature as well. I don't know if anyone who listened to this is familiar with the South African Zef group, Die Antwoord, most famous for their, and I showed this video to the chaps before we started, most famous, I think, for their song Fatty Boom Boom, which has Lady Gaga having a prawn taken out of her vagina, and then she gets eaten by a lion when she's wearing a meat suit.
Why were they so harsh towards her?
I think, from what I understand of it, look them up. It's Die Antwoord. Just spell it out.
D-I-E.
D-I-E-A-N-T-W-O-O-R-D. You don't have to look it up now. It's for the benefit of the people listening.
Oh, okay.
The South African rave rap group, and the type of music called Zef music. Now, the reason why they had a crack at Lady Gaga, she was coming to South Africa and she asked them, from what I understand, to be one of her support acts, and they didn't take it very well.
Why?
I think they thought that she was using their growing fame as a way to kind of, that she's going to use them. That's what I think. That's what I understand. I don't know if we've got any hardcore Die Antwoord fans listening, because obviously we will. Email in to the email I've not yet set up, but I will do at some point. And I'll tag it on. I'll tag it on the end. Yeah, message us. Also, if you're a Die Antwoord fan and you work for some kind of child abuse hotline, and Rob got beaten with by, so get involved with that as well. So
it was years ago. I'm fine. Just don't.
It's one of those things.
It's not like a
that didn't help
historical-
Rolf Harris in court, though, did it?
Yeah, but Rob Harris raped little kiddies. I wasn't raped. I just got with it.
There we go.
By we've got to really take that out. We can't allow that. Honestly, seriously, that can't go in.
It won't.
No, seriously, that can't go in.
It won't. Don't worry.
So I did phone up Childline once, but I took the batteries out of the phone and freaking out because thought I was calling them for real. Well, I wasn't.
About the
Well, yeah. So I took the batteries out of the phone
before you rang them.
before I rang them, so the phone wouldn't work. But didn't see that. Just saw me dialing the number. Started bawling his eyes out, crying, saying change.
thought Esther Ransom was coming round.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. There was a time he hit me around the head with a.
Jesus Christ! Back to this podcast is about kind of films and comic books.
Yeah,
At the moment, it's like your abuse
we can't put that in there.
memories. Right. Anyway, thanks for that little story. So this film Chappie coming out. It looks like it's going to be really interesting. We watched the video of it. It looks very much in the same vein as District 9. Within the story, it seems like they build a robot with artificial intelligence, and it can feel things. And I think a lot of the stories about that this almost like a new species, like a robot species. So it does look like it could be quite interesting. Right, the other thing I only put this next bit in because of Avenue here, Andy, was Sly Stallone. I know you're a big fan of him. He's got these 3 films that he's got at the moment down as coming out this year.
Yeah.
One of them will be later in the year. It's called Scarpa, and it's about gangsters and all that. But the two I think you would be interested in are Rambo: Last Blood. It's going to be another Rambo film.
One. It's an Expendables, that isn't it? Or...
Well, this isn't Expendables. They're just an Expendables 3, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they're just on that.
This is John Rambo.
Is it the same? Is Stallone still being Rambo?
Yeah. Yeah.
How old's Sly now? He must be getting.
He's got to be at 65. I'll just Google.
Mid 60s, yeah.
He's
Okay,
cracking on,
Google.
isn't he?
How old is Sylvester Stallone?
Do you know what?
I mean,
You could type it, Rob.
Yeah, but this is quicker.
Great.
Oh shit! It just picked up me saying, "Yeah, this is quicker." Hang on, I'll just type it in again.
And as it said, yes, this is quicker.
No, it said, "How old is Sylvester Stallone?" Yes, this is quicker. He doesn't understand what I mean. He's 68. Bloody hell!
He's a bit past military service age.
He is a little bit, isn't he?
Born in 1946. Wow.
Yeah, well, so he will be starring in the new Rambo film called Last Blood.
It will be Last Blood.
Literally, it's basically about a care home that gets. That's not true. I don't know what's going to happen in it, but it should be quite good. And he's also going to appear in the film Creed, which is a Rocky spin-off, and it's going to be about Rocky training up the son of Apollo Creed to box.
But I thought like he was done and dusted with the whole Rocky thing, or is he like trying to milk?
Well,
his
no,
pension?
he's bringing them both back for a bit of cash, isn't he? So.
I don't think Sly Stallone has many pension worries, to be honest. I think he's pretty much made with it. But yeah, I think it's not. He's going to be in it as a trainer. He'll be like the Mickey character. Now,
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be quite good. I really like Rocky Balboa. Have you seen Rocky Balboa, Andy?
I don't think I have actually.
I thought it was really good, and the boxing in it's pretty good. A lot of the boxing in the early ones
Was
was
a real boxer
shocking.
he fought, didn't he, in Balboa? I
Yeah.
can't remember the guy's name now, but it was a
Is
real
it Anton Carver or something like that?
I can't remember.
Rob, without using the voice activation thing, who did Anton Charver or something? Look up.
Yeah.
Who
he,
did,
he beat Roy Jones Jr.
Who
right.
did Rocky fight? It was Mason.
Yeah,
Mason
it was the guy,
Dixon.
but the guy was actually a real boxer.
What was the name of the guy who played it? It was Anton something, I think. That was his name in it. But I like that. I'll definitely go and watch the Rocky spin-off, but I didn't...
Mason Dixon, and it was played by.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yes.
Is it Tarver?
Anton Tarver, yeah.
Antonio Tarver.
Yeah, that's it.
Antonio Tarver, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that. It was a good film. Did you see the last Rambo film? I didn't.
No.
It's just not... It's
I
ridiculous.
just want to spend money to... You can't really reinvent it to be something, that interesting. You know what the formula is going to be, don't you?
Yeah. No,
It's just going to be one man killing a load of people.
What? A Rambo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a dodgy hip?
With a dodgy
Was
hit.
that a main story plot in it? That he had-
Yeah.
Well,
I love
I
this.
just think it's just stretching out a bit because you can only be back. It's like Liam Neeson doing all these Taken films now. and
Yeah, and all the Taken's out, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, hang on a minute.
Liam
you know.
Neeson legitimately is a tough son of a bitch. He was in, I think this was actually in Central Park. There was someone being, a gang was attacking someone, and I'm pretty sure it was Liam Neeson, you can look this up. He went over and he offered the whole gang out. And I think the police might have turned up
For
there.
dinner.
Yeah, took man for a nice slap-up meal. No, I think he actually said to them, he said something along the lines of, I'm a man with a particular set of skills.
Do you feel lucky? Alright.
Yeah, that's- and
You're not like
Neeson-
getting confused with the gangs in New York.
You mean the film The Gangs
The
of New
film
York?
Gangs in New York. Yeah.
No, I'm not confused. This actually did happen.
A
Look up
gang.
Liam Neeson and then see if we
Yeah,
find
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So according to this here, it says he denies. Liam Neeson denies saving the life of a dog who was attacked by a gang. The star is said to have rescued the animal after a group of men threw stones at it, and he is said to have
He's
beaten
a dog, then, not a woman.
Yeah, he's said to have beaten them all up and stuff, but
I don't think
he says it's not true. He didn't. He said he was out jogging in Central Park when he heard the screams of a woman who was watching as the teenagers called the stray animal. Apparently, he charged down the path to confront the attackers before he himself was met with a volley of abuse. He then lost his usual laid-back demeanour and snapped back, telling them to back off or else. As he did, they all ran away.
so. He did defend a woman.
But then it goes on to say, however, the Star's agents confirmed the story is false.
Oh, so it's not true.
It's not true.
Well, they would say that because I reckon he's going out all the time kicking ass.
You reckon he's just like going around finding people that fiddle dogs and beating them up?
No one was fiddling with any pets in there.
Well, interfering.
Interfering is the same thing. You'd never say, I was interfering with pets. How can I help you? Do I need a what, sorry? I do need a packed lunch, yeah, thanks for coming and asking me in the middle of the
You get
show.
a packed lunch made for you?
Certainly do, otherwise I eat it with a she knows her place. Anyway, right, that's all I want to talk about film. I was thinking about talking about the recent Woman in Black because Andy, who only ever goes to watch films if he thinks that it'll make him look normal in front of a woman, actually went to see a film the other day. But it is true, isn't it, Andy?
Did you go with Adrian?
Oh, you've named her. Yeah.
Isn't it a boy's name?
Oh my word. Anyway, so I was going to ask you about it, but you
How's
just...
Emma?
Yeah. Oh, let's out everyone else. Oh. Let's not start outing people's family and friends. Anyway, what I'm going to talk about now is I'm going to talk about some of the upcoming UK cons. So these are conventions. Now I've been to a few with
not con artists.
This is a con artist special. This is conventions.
Social con. All right, no.
Yes, Andy.
Sorry.
I liked it better when you weren't saying anything.
Yeah, sorry.
So the first one
Proceed.
is I'm going to name 3. These run from January into the middle of February. I've not done the whole of February because if we do another podcast next week, I could do some of them then. Anyway, there's 3 podcasts. The first one is called DigiCon, January the 10th to the 11th in Doncaster Racecourse. And being at DigiCon is going to be Peter Davison, famous for playing Doctor Who, Paul McGann, another Doctor, Fraser Hines, who was an assistant of Doctor Who, Jamie, who was a Highlander, Terry Malloy, who famously did the voice of Davros, Virginia Hay, who was in one of my favourites, she played Zotar Zan in Farscape, Lita, Amy Dumas from the WWF, or WWE now, is going to be there. Norman Lovett, who played Holly in Red Dwarf, is going to be there. And this is what I mentioned earlier, Richard James, who played Officer Orin in Deep Space Nine, is going to be at that. So that's Doncaster Racecourse. Sounds like a pretty good lineup. Any of them capture your attention? Andy, obviously you're a big Fraser Hines fan from his days on Emmerdale Farm.
Well, he used to come to Lincoln Theatre, didn't he?
Well, I think he lives quite close to here, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we lived in Lincoln,
Yeah, if we lived there.
we'd have seen him as a child, but...
I actually did see him in pantomime as a child.
Yeah, so
Was
did
he
I.
Widow Twanky?
He played some like Buttons. And I was so excited because I knew that he was an assistant for the second Doctor. And I thought, they're going to make some kind of Doctor Who reference. And he came on to the Emmerdale Farm music, which is what Emmerdale was back then in the day, on a little toy children's tractor. And I just thought, this is rubbish.
Don't they do that Doctor Who convention annually at the Ritz?
They do, and when it is, I will mention it on the podcast if we're still doing it, or if we're still talking to each other after the recent Let's Out Each Other's Family competition.
Yeah, all the stuff on Mother abusing me.
We're not going to leave it on, don't worry.
Promise me?
I promise.
No, seriously, it's really bad.
No one knows who you are.
Okay.
Also, we all know, let's just put it out here, most of what Rob says is Raoul. Oh, friggin' hell. Raoul says is tongue-in-cheek. So don't take it as the truth. Right, the next one, so that was DigiCon, January the 10th, 11th, Doncaster Racecourse. The next one I want to talk about, and this is one I think I would probably likely to go to, is the True Believers Comic Festival at Cheltenham Racecourse on February the 7th. And this one is all about comic books. They want to bring it back. There's a lot of conventions now. I went to the MCM one last year. Was it last year we went, Lise?
Probably the year.
Probably the year before now. I went to the big MCM London one. And although there are a lot of comic book creators there, it's more about TV and stuff like that. This one is going to bring it back to it being about comic creators, sellers, and fans. One of the people who's going to be there is Paul Duffield, who I've actually met before, and he signed a book of his. He's most famous for a webcomic called Freak Angels that I'm going to talk a bit more about later on. He did that with Warren Ellis, who's a real brilliant writer. This festival does sound like the kind of thing I would want to go to. It's the kind of place I'd probably want to try and, sell my comic book when it's all finished.
Will they let you?
Yeah, normally the way these cons go, you have to pay for a table. Although I went to one in Oxford before, which was a small, kind of mainly comic book one, and they had a table where you could leave your stuff on there. They will sell it for you, and they take a small cut of it, which is a really good idea, I think. Not all cons have that, but I would like to see, if I had my say, and if you were running a con, I'd have a table for that for people who haven't got enough stuff to sell for their own table, but they could put it on this kind of group one.
Didn't Warren Ellis do Hellblazer?
He probably has worked, and lots of different people have worked on Hellblazer. Warren Ellis is probably most famous for, I think, Transmetropolitan.
Transmetropolitan.
Yeah, really good book that is. But he's really, really one of the great kind of British writers, Warren Ellis is.
Was that...
Are you Googling this, Rob?
No, I'm trying to remember. That was on Vertigo, wasn't it? DC's Vertigo
yes, Rob.
label.
Yes, it is.
And it was like a cyberpunk thing.
It was, yeah. Have you read it?
No, I've...
Seen it on the internet just now. Yeah, anyway, but Paul Duffield is a cool guy, and his work's really good. I'm going to talk about him a bit later on as well, because I'm going to do a bit where we pick some kind of comics of the week, and I've actually picked Paul Duffield's one of the ones he worked, in fact, Freak Angels it is. Talk a bit more about it in a minute. And the next one I want to talk about is Animanga Pop at the Holiday Inn in Plymouth, February the 7th. So it's at the same time as the True Believers Comic Festival. So, Rob, you're going to have to make a decision there. What do you want? Animanga Pop or True Believers?
True Believers.
I think I would probably go more with the True Believers. What about you? As a fan of Initial D, the premier racing manga comic.
I'm a fan of cars, not manga.
Oh, then.
True Believers all the way.
Yeah. But let me talk about this Animanga Pop. Holiday Inn, Plymouth, February the 7th. Japanese and Asian pop culture performances, fashion show, cosplays and retailers, etc. So if you're into your manga, your anime, and you're into all that kind of stuff, that sounds like a cool thing to go to. I will say, they do all that kawaii. It all goes a bit Gwen Stefani, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how.
Well, you got like some geisha girl that follows you around and stuff.
Super kawaii.
Super kawaii. My problem with... I'm not a massive manga fan or anime, although this doesn't really count. I've been watching all of the Avatar, The Last Airbender, recently. Although it's American made, but they actually got it. It's American made, but animated in Korea. A lot of that. It's really good. It was for kids, but if I was going to... Someone said to me, what's a good anime to watch? And I think it classes as an anime because of the things that kind of inspire it. Avatar: The Last Airbender, you can watch it on YouTube or you can buy it if you want to do it the full legal way. Really good.
How come it's on YouTube then?
Because people have illegally uploaded it on there, that's why.
I didn't think you could illegally upload to YouTube.
We can, if they catch us, they'll
just
shut you
take it
down.
down,
But it's the kind of thing I'm considering, I've only watched the first season and a bit of the second one. I would consider buying the whole thing, it's really good. And now there's Legend of Korra, which is like the follow-on series. I don't know why I started watching it. I just thought it looked interesting, and it really is probably one of the best kind of kids' cartoons I've seen for a long time. So yeah, Animanga Pop. This is what I was going to say about that. I'm not into that particularly, and when I was at the London MCM Super Comic Con thing, and if you're the same, I know you don't want to appear on the podcast, Lisa, but I found some of the manga kids particularly annoying.
Oh, they always are.
Because they run around, not that they're damn kids, they're very loud, they run around, and there's just something genuinely irritating about...
Well, they try and behave like manga characters who are genuinely irritating.
Yeah, there's just something about it. I just remember we were walking up to it, and then there was someone dressed as a certain character who saw someone else dressed as a certain character, and obviously in the story that they were cosplaying, they must have been enemies, and they started chasing each other, and they thought it was like, ho 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 ho. I honestly thought, I'm going to trip one of you up in a minute and stamp on the back of your head.
Well,
American History X style curb stomp.
Just massively annoying.
Yeah, and everyone else, it was really packed and sweaty, and you're walking along, and then you get
So
them
hang
kind
on,
of...
it was packed and sweaty and full of kids.
There's two douchebags.
You'd love it, Rob. They're just that you'd walk along and some of them would skip through, and there's something again about. And I've got nothing against skipping, but when I'm crowded in and then someone dressed as a cat comes skipping past me, I just want to kick the legs out from under them and then do a tap dance on their face.
Well, yeah.
Shouldn't you get in?
This is a place where they can be free, though, isn't it? To...
Be among their own kind.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think something like this anime manga pop thing sounds brilliant, because if you're into that, that would be the place to go. You can listen to your Japan pop or Korean pop stuff and dance around and
Like Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Gangnam Style, but I just think maybe it's an age thing. Maybe I'm too old for liking stuff like that. My idea of anime in particular is not this kind of bouncy around happy. My idea of anime is people being raped by giant penis monsters. Have you ever seen Uragotsuki?
It is a little bit misogynistic, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but a lot of this kind of stuff is because it appeals to guys, doesn't it? So you're going to be a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't really want to see, people being raped by anyone.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, well done, Rob. That's okay. Did you all hear that? That's official. We're covered now if ever you get accused of anything because we've got proof. Yeah, but I don't know. Find them quite annoying, some manga people. But if you do end up listening to this and you're a manga fan, please write in and slag Rob off. Feel free. Which leads me on to my last story before we talk about the comics that I want to talk about this week. And this is UK made cafes. Have you ever heard of these, Andy?
UK made?
UK made. Not made as in
Cafes
built
made
here.
in the UK?
Yeah.
I'm all for British manufacturing.
It's where pervy men go to get served by Japanese French maids or something.
Yes, you're on the right track. What it is that this is a big thing in Japan, that they have these kind of cosplay cafes where you go in and you'll be served by men or women. You have maids and then you have butlers who are obviously men. But in Japan they actually have somewhere you'll have men cross-dressing as maids or somewhere women cross-dress as butlers. But very popular in Japan. You go in, you get served by these people, and the kind of outfit they wear, I know Rob said French maids was... it is kind of, but it's not an eroticised, really. They'll have big skirts on and all. It's not, from what I've seen, particularly sexy, although if you're into kind of anime stuff you might do. And you get served there and they'll serve you stuff like cakes and all that. Now, quite a few groups have started doing this in the UK. Now, I don't know whether this is... they actually have a cafe set up. There's one in Manchester, Sweet Cupcake Made Cafe. Now, I don't know whether they actually have a building where they do it or whether they just go to these conventions or they hire themselves out.
A quick Google shows they've actually got their own establishment.
So, and is that the one in Manchester?
Sweet Maid, yeah?
Yeah. And there's another one called Maids of England, which is an interesting title because
Do you mean Sweet Cupcake?
You just basically
Sweet
get
cupcake made
served
cafe.
by people dressed as maids and butlers.
Yes.
That's the
Oh no, there is more to
I was
it.
going to say,
What's so weird about that? Is that not just a normal...
Yeah, isn't that just...
Well, obviously, a lot of these seem to be youngish girls dressed up or youngish guys.
Well, the thing is, they some of these people are in their 20s, but they're dressed to look like they're 12.
That is true.
Which is just a bit weird.
That's a bit...
Yeah.
Sort of sexual element.
Well, there's a thing in it which is... I said there's another company called Maids of England, and Maids of England, take the first letter, it spells Mo. Mo is a term which I think it's either Japanese or Chinese. It means if something's kind of cute. So this word Mo is often used as like a slang term for kind of the cuteness of these maids and all that. Now, I think it's quite... the idea of going to some kind of convention and them having this kind of cafe type thing where it's quite a fun idea. But let me tell you some of the other stuff they do. And I think this is more in Japan. I don't think you necessarily get this. again, the podcast can't see the crude gesture you're doing to me, Andy. In Japan, as well as getting tea and cakes, extras are things like they will clean your ears for you.
What?
What?
There are some of these cafes where you can pay to have them clean your ears.
Why would you clean someone's ears?
Other ones where you can get photo shoots with the staff. So if you're being served by a girl, you get a photo shoot with her. Because you're not normally allowed to take photos in these places. And then she will decorate it with stamps and stickers, the Polaroid, and give it to you. Another one is, and this is, I think, a Japanese one, being slapped. You can pay a maid to slap you in the face.
Right, well...
You can get that for free. You just have to, do what Andy does on a Saturday night.
What? Treat women with respect?
Yeah, why would they slap him? He's a gentleman.
He is a gentleman.
He
Edit
is.
that out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I just think there's... I like Japan, but do you not think there's always a slightly dark undercurrent to a lot of Japanese stuff?
Oh, completely. Completely.
Oh, yeah, I reckon there's always some sort of sexual element in, a lot of this, like, manga stuff and...
Oh, yeah, we see loads of stuff, which is... They have this, have you heard is it lolly porn? Which is where they will draw girls that look, kind of prepubescent as well, and they'll feature them in stuff.
No, there's also stuff like Japanese men are too busy for girlfriends, so they have these virtual girlfriends, and it's just something so unwholesome about the whole.
Yeah, it is a bit weird.
Yeah.
Would you go to a UK made cafe though?
No.
Would you go to one, Lisa, over there, and they're not speaking? Just nod your head or shake it.
I'm not going to listen to them.
Oh, well, you can listen to it on the podcast if you want, and they'll ask you the question then. Would you go to one of these UK maid cafes with all dressed up as maids or butlers? Because you can get butler ones who are dressed up like men, but they wear that kind of weird manga hair type wig thing. Where the hair's in kind of like clumps and all that. Would you go to one of them?
Not by choice.
Would you pay someone to clean your ears? That's a four-man job, isn't it? I don't think we can afford that. Anyway, so yeah, that was just one of the to bring up because I read about it this morning and I thought that is kind of weird, but I like the fact that there's people willing to try kind of creative stuff like that. Okay, finally, comics crap. I've told this bit. I want to pick out, and I want to try and do more British stuff than American, because there's a lot of podcasts that talk about stuff like Marvel and DC. I've picked out 2 different comics that you can read online. First one I mentioned already, it's Freak Angels. You can get that at www.freakangels.com. The whole story's been finished now for a few years. Paul Duffield and Warren Ellis, brilliant story, kind of set in a post-apocalyptic London, Whitechapel it's set in. We got these 20-something kind of powerful kind of psychics who are in the story. It's a really cool story, so I'd recommend that one. The other one I'm going to recommend is vanguardcomic.com by a bloke called Dan Butcher. I've been reading a lot of this recently. The style's interesting. The backgrounds are done on 3D Studio Max or SketchUp, and he actually draws the characters and puts them on top of it. The really gritty story. It's about a UK superhero team. I've just been reading some of the recent episodes, and it's gone all kind of Game of Thrones. Do you watch Game of Thrones, Rob?
Yes.
In Game of Thrones, you find a character you like, and they start killing them off.
Yeah.
Quite recently, in Vanguard, as the comic's called, they've just been killing off and butchering loads of the main characters in it, and in quite gruesome ways. I don't want to spoil anything, but one of the characters who looked quite cool got an exploding arrow through the face and it blew the head up. And another bit where another character was crawling towards their dying lover, and they died before they could get to them. It's really gone really dark. I think they're going to do some kind of relaunch over a new team in it, but that's vanguardcomic.com by Dan Butcher. I would seriously suggest having a look at that if you want something really dark. And David Cameron appears in it as well, his likeness.
Oh, what happens to him?
He's just the Prime Minister in it. And he has a different name. His name's something like... what is it? Something like David McIntosh. But the Dan Butcher guy who does it is a graphic designer by trade, I think. And it's quite a fun comic. I quite like it. And I would suggest reading it to anyone. Okay, so before we finish off the show... I want us to pick some of our top moments from 2014. Just started 2015. So we'll start with you, Andy. You're bound to have loads of top moments 2014 for TV shows or films you watched. Since you only watched like 3 films, because you recently got a girlfriend.
TV shows and films?
Which would fit under the remit of this podcast.
Can you come back round?
Yeah, she'll come back to you. What about Initial D? Because I think at some point this year I picked one up at your house and made fun of you for it.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that, Initial D? Do you want to tell us about it?
Not particularly, no.
Right, Rob, what's one of your 2014 moments for last year?
What? Like, with regards to what?
Something that was cool. Something that blew your ball off. All I can hear is you on that rocking chair. Shall I pick some of my favourite moments out while
Yes,
we're all thinking?
Yeah.
It's got to be Walking Dead. Love Walking Dead. The last episode that I saw this year, pretty shocking. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but a well-loved character gets at the top of her head blown off. It's just been consistently good. I know some people bitch about Walking Dead, but I loved that. Game of Thrones, I know you're a fan of that, Rob. Loved Game of Thrones. And I've also, this year, what's one of the things I've really got into? I started reading a comic, which we've been going for a long time, called Goblins. It's not a British one. And I started off and I looked at it and thought, oh, it's drawn really badly. But do you know what? As I read more of it, it just got better and I got hooked on it. Read all of it. And then I couldn't be asked to wait a week for each episode to come out, each page. So I'd kind of binge read it all. But I really loved that this year. I
do that with Netflix. I end up binging stuff on that. I would probably say it'd be Game of Thrones, and it would be probably that pairing between Arya and I've forgotten her name, the giant woman, Brienne.
Oh, Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah, Brienne of Tarth. Yeah. I thought that'll be quite interesting because we haven't quite seen what's going to happen with that. They've just hooked up. I think.
Arya.
Yeah.
Arya's cleared off to become one of the. Well, she's going to become one of the faceless men. Don't want to spoil it. She's gone to Bravosi.
But I thought she was still with Brienne.
No, she ran away after Brienne fought the Hound.
And she killed. You know what? I haven't seen after that.
Did you know? That's one of the best bits. That fight between.
Yeah, well, I saw her kill the Hound, but after that, I haven't seen after that yet.
Yeah, well, I won't spoil it if you don't want to. Yeah.
That was a bit rubbish. The Hound just kind of rolled over and died. Really, he didn't really.
Yeah, but he was badly injured. He was basically he'd been bitten, and he was getting weaker as he went along.
Well, yeah, but it was still a bit crap.
Is the Hound dead, Rob?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Oh.
And again, I don't want to spoil anything, and there's nothing in the books that says he definitely comes back. But if you have read the books, there is a particular character there is something that suggests he may not necessarily be.
Because I don't think the Hound could die that easily. So you're right. You didn't actually see him die.
No, but
he just said, "I'm dying. Piss off," basically.
But just because in the books, again, they don't say he's come back, but there's some speculation from fans. Again, I don't want to spoil anything that he may or may not be dead, and there is a particular character, without spoiling stuff, that could be him. But again, it's not been said, so that might not be true. But there are certain characters in the books that aren't actually in the TV show.
That's right.
One particular major one I'm thinking of, a big character who would have come back, and I don't think they're going to do, which would have been pretty cool. But yeah, it's been consistently good. I love Game of Thrones.
The Hound is one of the coolest characters. So it'd be good if he's still.
Do you, when you see him though, think about him in Hot Fuzz? Yarp.
Was that him?
That's him, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Right, and I've saved him to the last because obviously he's going to be the best. Andy, what were your geek moments?
Probably Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Who's your favourite character?
Well, there's so many.
Yeah, just name one then.
Well, I just, Alright, yeah. I've probably not watched a lot of stuff. Just
No.
been out living my life and whatnot.
Right, your job is to this week, Andy. Your job: go and read Freak Angels and go and look at Vanguard comic.
Right.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone want to plug anything at all? Rob, you got anything that you want to plug or people can look at?
Nope.
I will say, if people want to, you can see my blog. I've not updated it for a long time.
Yeah.
It's Thunderchild with an E at the end .blogspot.com, and there's some. I'm going to put some new stuff on there soon. We'll probably will set up a blog for a blog for the podcast at some point, and probably Twitter for it as well. You don't want people following you on Twitter, do you, Raoul?
No, my account's private for a reason.
You can follow me at Thunderchild with an E on the end again. So that's THUNDERCHILDE on Twitter, and that's about it. What do you want people following you, Andy? Just in the streets?
I'd rather not know.
Are you on Twitter?
No, I keep off the grid really. You know.
You're a bit like John Connor, aren't
Yeah.
you? In case.
Yeah, the whole, when the Skynet try and trace me down.
Look at Grandpa Joe in his rocking chair over there. Well, that's about it for this show. Hopefully, we'll be back next week with another one. Great stuff.
All the best.
It's alive! Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.